Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm looking at Namor number 37. This is another one of the top comics of 1993. This one sneaks in at number 285 for the year, and that's probably the only time a Namor book had gotten quite so high. I've never been a huge Namor fan as far as like reading his own series go. I like his appearances in like the early FFs when he was kind of an anti-hero. I liked him when he showed up in like the Defenders and things like that, but for some reason I've just never taken to the character to read his solo stuff. And I've tried. In more recent years I've really tried because I like I said, I do like the character when he shows up in other things, but when you start diving deep into this Atlantis stuff, which we're going to see here in a minute, I just have a hard time staying focused with it. I picked this book up recently because I was digging through some long boxes at a used bookstore and I saw this shiny cover and I remember, hey, that's probably from 1993. And sure enough, it says it up here in like a little part of the corner box that it is a 1993 book, and it's got a nice shiny cover. So, I was like, I'm going to get that and cover it for the channel. I do remember it coming out. I remember this being on the shelf. I remember flipping through it for the Jae Lee art because it's just so different and wild than anything else that was coming out at the time. But I didn't pick it up for kind of the reasons I just said about, Namor just never being like one of my favorite characters. And I don't remember if this was like a Wizard top 10 book or not, but it definitely had a lot of buzz and I'm sure it was mentioned a lot. If for nothing else, just for being Jae Lee's early work. And this isn't his first issue on Namor. He'd done a few before this, but this one has the shiny cover, so that's the one we're covering. Right off the bat, there's a bunch of characters that I'm like, who are these people? Now, it explains in this box here, it mentions them all, and none of them sound familiar except Tiger Shark, who I'm guessing is this guy. But this does not look like the Tiger Shark that I know from the olden Tiger Shark days. Maybe it is, and this was just the look he was going for. I don't remember when Namor got this ponytail either. I feel like that's an addition of like John Byrne, because John Byrne launched this title, this particular volume of Submariner, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought he overlapped with Jae Lee as the writer for a little bit, but again, I could be completely wrong on that. Bob Harris writes this one. Anyway, so, starting out with this splash page, and it's explaining that this group of characters are going to stop some sort of other Atlanteans of some sort. They're like ancient Atlanteans, and they've come through the gray waters. And we're getting just some wild, like totally demonic looking things going on here. How much of this was built up before this issue, I can't say. I feel like I'm jumping into the middle of it, which is fine. I actually like being able to do that in comics of this era, especially because usually they do a decent job of catching you up, and to some degree they do. By the end of this, I kind of knew what was going on. You get these kind of characters on the side, and even though it says their names, it means nothing to me. One thing about Jae Lee is figure designs and stuff are always so just abstract. I wonder if this is this kind of looks like the same exact picture. I wonder if he just did like a paste up there. If he drew this and then reduced it to put it in, I guess that's like a orb, like a crystal ball. This is our main antagonist of the issue, and I've already forgotten his name. But in the back, we actually have a character page. Suma Ket is his name. So, Suma Ket. And as we go through this, he is like some kind of ancient Atlantean that has returned. He was like a necromancer, once a ruler, and he was banished to some dark realm by the Atlanteans and was reduced to more or less a myth, and he's returned. So you've got some like Atlantean lore there. And again, like I said at the beginning, when Namor got into that kind of stuff, a lot of times it just did not hold my attention. I don't know why. It should be fascinating. This like lost civilization, underwater realm should be super fascinating, but it just cannot hold my attention. Anyway, interesting, is this like a pyramid or something? This doesn't necessarily look natural. It looks kind of man-made. These look natural. But the team's going over here. This is like a pyramid or a temple of some sort protruding from the ground. Pretty cool shot there. That ponytail gets as long or as short as it needs to be depending on the scene. You get a good Imperious Rex as Namor basically breaks a hole into the side of that temple. And I'm getting, since this is supposedly Tiger Shark, and like I said, I don't know if it's the Tiger Shark that I think of that had the costume. You take it that this is kind of like a begrudging alliance to stop this guy. Then we cut back to Atlantis, and this is Namor's mother, supposedly. I guess she must have just returned from nowhere, and because she's like, Namor's mother, she kind of like is placed as the Empress of Atlantis. But there's something shady going on here. And Vashti, who I do know Vashti. I always remember Vashti from, if you've ever seen the old 60s cartoons that were basically just animated panels from the comics. I always remember, Vashti. It is I, Vashti. So Vashti and some other person that I'm unaware of, they're real suspicious of Namor's mother, and that she's acting very authoritarian and not like, I guess, she was before. And while I know Namor's mother and father, like the father was human and she was Atlantean, and then he became the ruler of Atlantis, but I don't know if I know what happened to the parents. I just assume they died, especially since Namor is practically immortal and he was around in World War II and even before then. I would assume that his parents were long gone. Anyway, she's back. Really like this face here. So much shadows. If I was going to, really critique something about this book, it's how dark it is. And I know some of that is just Jae Lee. His style is dark, but even the coloring choices itself. They go in the temple, this team of Namor and the others, and they immediately are captured by chains that come out of nowhere in the dark. Well, I guess these minions of some sort, I guess they're kind of zombies, because they kind of talk about them like they've been dead and come back, but also they're from another realm. These big splash pages are pretty awesome just to look at. I mean, whatever this media is that he does here, this white media, to get these effects, he really breaks a lot of the traditional rules. There's no Kirby crackle or even like like the wavy energy stuff that like John Byrne or Jim Lee does. I mean, it's always these like just bursts of line, almost like fireworks coming off of things. That's cool too, with the red drapery and the black. The bad guy here is going to, I guess, sacrifice Namor, because he's going to take over Atlantis again and restart his plans where he left off from centuries ago. We get this silhouetted fight for pages, and I wonder if that's like a like a real choice of a reason, like they're fighting in the dark reason, or is it like he's spending a lot of time doing these pages and this was the deadline page. So just black it out. When in doubt, black it out. This fight goes on just pretty quickly, and Namor pretty much gets subdued. And then the guy's going over to kill this girl. I've forgotten her name. And Namor jumps on it, and he takes a sword right through the chest. And they're like, he's dead. He's done. Namor has been killed in this issue. It is the death of Namor issue. Quick reactions by the team as he continues to just drop down. And then the mother shows up. Or is this might be back at Atlantis, actually. That confused me, because you're getting this reaction. Yeah, because it says Atlantis. It shouldn't have been confusing. I just read it fast. Back at Atlantis, I guess this is probably Vashti or somebody, brings the queen her ring. And this is where you get, like, she's not really the queen. I guess it's the queen's body, but she's been inhabited by some other thing. It says, "Curse you, woman. I am Artis Gran, cherished consort of Sumaket." But I guess Namor's mother is like buried in her subconscious. So when she sees the ring, it makes her emotional, and having some inner turmoil about she needs to get to Sumaket to, help flush out Namor's mom out of her mind, and vice versa. Namor's mom is trying to fight through to help, stop Sumaket. So, I mean, look at this. That sword going up through his chest. And they're all in chains, so they can't really do anything about it. And at this point, he's just like, okay, I've killed Namor. I'm off to Atlantis. And as he leaves, and they think they're trapped there, the chains just snap. And they're like, how? We get an awesome page of Neptune. And Neptune shows up kind of like Uatu. He's kind of like, I've come to indirectly help. I'm going to release your chains, and I'm going to resurrect Namor. But that's as much as I can do. And he's doing it because essentially the Atlanteans have been loyal to him as the god of the sea for so long that he couldn't just let Sumaket come and ruin it all. So he's going to go ahead and resurrect Namor. And that's when you get a new Namor design and costume. How long was he in this? I don't know. But this armor apparently doesn't really... He's not like fully resurrected, and maybe he wasn't fully dead. But he says this armor will only stave off the wounds for so long. And Namor's essentially like, it will be enough. I will go and stop Sumaket. This is just an interesting design all around. It's not too different. They basically just gave him pants and a shirt and like an armored chest plate, and then reduced his trunks down to just a cod piece, which is kind of funny. If you look at the cover, you can see it a little better there. It doesn't stand out as much there as it does there for some reason. Maybe it's the side angle. I don't know. And I guess they have these like spikes, these like blades to his like hand thing, or his like, it's like a bracelet or gauntlet. Namor had like little gauntlets, but if you look here, he had these huge ones that were like as long as his forearms. You can't see him there. And see, we're in the dark now. Is he wearing them there? It's hard to tell. He's got the chains on there. It's kind of like he has it on right there, maybe. It's like Jae Lee kind of forgot that he was wearing those or something. Yeah, he doesn't have them on. Well, he could have them on. Maybe they broke when he busted in. He has them on right there. At least one on the right hand. Looked like he had them on both hands. Does he only have one? No, he has them on both hands there. On here, though, he's only got one on. At least it looks like he only has one. On the cover, he's got two. So Jae Lee's still kind of learning to be consistent. The art skill is there. Wildly different style. This stood out, but it didn't stand out enough for me to pick up Namor. Oddly enough, it did stand out enough for me to keep buying this like image stuff he was doing. And this all came out in the same year. Jae Lee was very prolific. All right, that's it for this Namor book. I can't say it was bad. It was like so deep in the lore of Namor, it was hard for me to like really like get engaged in it. I like the art. I can't see myself looking for more of these unless, I just want to look at more Jae Lee stuff. Namor's storyline in Atlantis, I can't say it enough. It just does not hold my attention. I love Namor coming into different books, but man, he's hard for me to read as when it gets deep into the Atlantis lore stuff. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. Until next time, read your comics.